So for you in your career, did you have like maybe, can you pinpoint maybe some advice you had or a mentor that you had that really helped you and kind of guided you through your career and making decisions? I know for me, like I can pinpoint multiple times in my career where I had advice or people really like took time to mentor me, and it really helped me. Do you have any of those that have really helped you?
There's a few. And I'll give you three. Well, I'll give you four. One on the banking side of things, a gentleman named Bert Weaver, who's a banker. He's now retired. He's in Frankfort, Indiana now, but he worked at Merchants National Bank when they had the green briefcases and all of those kind of things, and they were downtown. They since had been purchased, but he gave me a lot of help on the banking and business world and what people were looking for in employees, and I took that to heart. I always understood that if I spent more time on my job than was expected and got better results than was expected, that I would move up. And it certainly happens. It does happen. So I think those who think I want to do as little as possible and still get paid full-time pay, they're making a mistake. It is visible, and it doesn't move you up the ladder if that's what your goal is. People have different goals. So he was one. I had a gentleman named Phil Hevlin who owned a meat market in downtown Frankfort, and I would go to him twice a week and he for lunch, and he taught me investing. So
Really?
he was an investor. He's long since passed, but it was stocks. So he would show me what he was doing, what was working, how to pick ones, and so forth. So I've had a fair amount of success in investing, and I attribute a lot of that to Phil Hevlin.
Your local butcher.
The local butcher.
Yeah.
It was Main Meat Market. Yep, that's what it was in Frankfort, Indiana. Yeah. And then my dad, who was a pastor, has passed away about 3 years. Well, it was 3 years ago. Yeah. This past July. He had the ability to make everybody that he talked to feel like they were the most important person in his life. And one of the ways he would say that helped me was he always said, smile. When you first meet somebody, smile and look for a compliment. Yeah. You don't have to say it, but if you look for a compliment, it changes your whole perspective about that person. So it could be something they're wearing or their smile or their eyes or, and sometimes you'd mention it, but sometimes you wouldn't. But the relationships and how you treat people was one thing he taught me. And then as far as the discipline, there was an author, he's long since passed. His name was Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N. And I would encourage people to go to YouTube and look up Jim Rohn, R-O-H-N is his last name. Mm-hmm. He was the mentor to Tony Robbins. Oh, wow. A mentor to many people. And I have probably 8 or 9 of his books. I have some of his series. Some were on cassette, which I don't use now, but usually I just go to YouTube. But about daily discipline in particular, he's a great person to listen to, and he was very prominent back in the 70s and 80s, but it applies to today. What you do each day determines where you're going to be tomorrow. And repeating positive steps every day. Which is why I drink water, read the Bible, read a book, and exercise every day. Something every day. I don't think I've missed for 10 or 15 years. Jim Rohn was a big part of that. So those are 4 that have had a big impact on me.